Welcome to the Pneumatics Configuration Guide. We are going to configure an IPSEC tunnel to manage the pneumatics device. Once you log into the UI, you will go to the configuration folder. Then you will go to the IPSEC configuration page. We will want to set up a tunnel, so we want to enable the IPSEC. So we'll check the box next to IPSEC. You want to hit submit to submit your changes. We will need to create a peer to connect the IPSEC LAN-to-LAN tunnel for managing of the pneumatics device or devices behind the pneumatics. So we will click the Add button under the IPSEC tunnel peers. We will need to enter the IP address of the other end of the IPSEC tunnel. We will use an IP address that you get from your server. I'm using my address for my system in my office. We're using IKE version 2. If your server is using version 1, please select that radio button. I use a pre-shared key of pneumatics for my tunnel. You will need to get that information from your server as well. If you use certificates, you will need to load a certificate on the pneumatics device. Then you will need to also enable the security parameters. I use MD5 and SHA in my server. I use a 124-bit key strength. Once you make sure all your variables are configured and accurate according to the setting on the other end of the tunnel, you will hit the Add button. Once the screen refreshes, then you'll want to go back to the IPSEC main configuration page. You can verify that your tunnel peer is set up properly. Then you will need to create a security policy for that tunnel peer. So to create a security policy, you will click the Add button under IP Security Policies. You will select the tunnel peer that you want the security policy to be assigned to from the drop-down menu. You will need to set up the remote IP subnet for the other end of the tunnel. I have a private subnet on my tunnel, so I will use that address. And then you will enter the subnet mask of that other end. And if you use a specific port, you'll want to set that here. I use all ports. And since we're creating a tunnel to configure this pneumatics device, for the local end, we'll use the network interface IP, so you can manage the pneumatics device remotely through this tunnel. If you wanted to reach specific devices behind the pneumatics, you will select the radio button for static IP and set up the subnet that matches those devices' subnets on the pneumatics device. You will then set the security parameters that match the other end of the pneumatics tunnel. We use ESP, DES, and triple DES on my setup with SHA, MD5, and 124-bit perfect forward secrecy strength key. Once you have made sure all parameters are set that match your server at the other end of the tunnel, click the Add button. Once the screen refreshes, you can go back to the main IPSEC tunneling page, verify that your security policy is there, and that your tunnel peer is there, and that it is enabled. We have now set the IPSEC tunnel settings in the pneumatics device.